SpongeBob SquarePants Mysteries, Ooze in the Ocean. Chapter 16. When I heard Patrick's voice, I was as excited as Mr. Krabs spotting a penny on the sidewalk. On second thought, make that a nickel. I was really glad. Whenever you're in a jam, it pays to have a partner who's got your back. And if being chased through a tunnel by an Alaskan worm didn't qualify as being in a jam, then I didn't want to find out what did. Hang on, Patrick called. I'll pull you up. Hurry! SpongeBob cried. Patrick yanked on the other end of the rope, but instead of pulling SpongeBob up out of the hole, he just made SpongeBob swing around in the darkness. Woo! SpongeBob yelled. He lost his grip, fell, and landed right on the worm's back. To the worm, it was as though its prey had disappeared, so it turned around and headed back down the tunnel the way it had come, with SpongeBob clinging desperately to its back. Patrick! SpongeBob shouted. Help! Don't worry, buddy! Patrick yelled back. I'm coming! Without hesitating, Patrick grabbed the rope and slid down it, almost free-falling before landing on the worm's back near the tip of its tail. SpongeBob! Patrick shouted. Run towards me! Toward the tip of the tail! It wasn't easy keeping his balance on the back of the rapidly moving Alaskan worm, but SpongeBob managed to run away from the head of the worm, steering toward Patrick's voice. This way! Patrick encouraged him. Come on! You can do it! In a matter of moments, SpongeBob reached Patrick near the tip of the worm's tail. You made it! Patrick said, grabbing hold of SpongeBob. Vroom! From the far end of the worm up by its head came a loud noise. What's that? Patrick cried. I think it's the sound of tunneling, SpongeBob said. The worm must be digging a new tunnel. He and Patrick bumped up and down as they rolled on the back of the Alaskan worm, desperately trying to keep their balance. We've got to get off this thing before we end up in its new tunnel, Patrick said. Come on, let's jump. Jump? SpongeBob said. It's a long way down to the floor of this tunnel. I know, Patrick said, but we've got to do it. 1, 2, 3. They jumped. Whoomp! They hit the ground and rolled. The Alaskan worm zoomed away, burrowing into its new tunnel. It's gone, Patrick said. So you were right about an Alaskan worm digging that tunnel. Patrick! SpongeBob gasped. You saved me! I just did what any detective partner would do, he said modestly. Now let's get out of here. SpongeBob liked that idea. He had enough of dark tunnels for one day. He started off, then stopped, thinking better of it. We've got to keep going down the worm's old tunnel. What? No way! Patrick protested, but SpongeBob looked determined. I don't like it any more than you do, buddy, but I saw footprints down there. We have to see where the end of that tunnel leads to. Patrick sighed. Oh, okay. Let's do it. They started off down the long, dark tunnel, SpongeBob lighting the way with his flashlight. Maybe we should just use that finder thingy, Patrick suggested. Just in case there's any green slime. Good idea, SpongeBob said, pulling out the finder and switching it on. They walked through the gloom for a few steps in silence. And SpongeBob said, I'm so sorry about what I said before. You're a great private eye. I don't know about that, Patrick said. It seems like I just keep making mistakes, like when you were trying to examine the trail of ooze and I got in your way, blocking your light. Well, that's how we figured out the ooze glows, SpongeBob said. Then I got us stuck on the Flying Dutchman's ship, which is what led us to Squilliam's house. And that's where you asked the butler what he was going to clean up in the yard, and he told us about the second trail of great slime. Yeah, but when we went outside to search for evidence, I forgot what we were looking for. But you found it. You spotted the green ooze before I did. And then you thought of Sandy as the best person to scientifically analyze it. And remember when you stopped me from falling in the pit the first time we came here? And how when we were trying to think of where a tough worm wrangler might hang out? You remember the salty spittoon? And then when we got in there, how you charmed Beth with your smooth tough guy manners, so she let us sit down with her? I guess, Patrick said. I was just following my intuition, trusting my gut. SpongeBob shone his flashlight up to the empty ceiling for a moment and then back down to the floor of the tunnel in front of them. That's what good detectives do. And every step of this investigation, you've been the best partner a detective could hope for. Really? Patrick asked, his eyes growing wide. Yup, SpongeBob said. Now let's crack this case together. Together, Patrick agreed. Whoop, whoop, whoop. The radioactive ooze finder! We got a hit! SpongeBob said. It must be right ahead of us. Sure enough, as the tunnel curved, they spotted a trail of glowing green slime on the ground, and a light trail of footprints. There they are! SpongeBob cried. The two partners hurried ahead to study the green track. Looks like a radioactive slug went down this worm tunnel, Patrick said. Exactly, SpongeBob said. SpongeBob agreed. But where was the slug going? Let's find out, Patrick said, forging on. They hadn't gone much farther when they saw a light shining ahead. The tunnel led right into an underground chamber, and the chamber looked familiar. Stay tuned for Chapter 17, coming up soon.